Hey viewers, and welcome to another video about my mental health. Well, so today, since I just introduced my journey, the start of my journey, I would like to talk about some of the things that I've experienced over a course of many years that have contributed to my, anxiety. And one of the things I've been anxious about, especially it was really strong a couple years ago, was the fear of germs. So I guess people know it as germophobia, but I think it contributed a lot to my anxiety because I was afraid to touch so many different things, and I had to constantly wash my hands over and over and over again. And what really stunk was my hands. What happened was, especially during the winter is such a dry time out here in California, and so if you constantly wash your hands, the water's cold and freezing. And I just remember, when I was in middle school, just looking at my hands, and they were just dry, and they were cracking. Sometimes they would bleed, but it was terrible, But luckily, over the past couple of years, it's been less and less. I've been washing my hands less and less. Of course, I wash my hands after I go to the bathroom, but it's not a obsessive, constant thing. So let's take for example this container of soap. It's already been finished, but I remember back in middle school there used to be this fancy French soap. That, let's take a look at this. It used to be humongous. It used to be extremely big. I don't know what type of size. Maybe let's say, I don't know, it's just really big, and it only took me a couple weeks to finish that because I would constantly wash my hands over and over and again, and so that whole soap was gone. But now, like I was saying, back in my room, I'm in the bathroom, this soap, it's still good. It's been a couple months actually since this was actually put in here, so I mean that's some sort of improvement at the least. But I just remember the faucet. Man, this place used to be where I used to have to constantly wash my hands, let's say, a lot, and then, let's say I'd walk away, but then I'd be I need to wash my hands again. And so it'd be a constant thing, over this way, that way, this way, that way, and it'd be it would be 5 minutes before I could actually leave. But I finally, I don't know, I guess I just got so fed up with having to wash my hands, or maybe it's just some pressure, but I just didn't want to wash my hands that much anymore. And so now I can finally, just wash my hands once, wipe them off, and go on my way, There's no more constant, oh my gosh, should I wash my hands again? Or oh, I didn't wash them enough, or something like that. Something like that constant cycle. I managed to break that cycle and move past. And now I can just wash my hands normally. Except for sometimes. Sometimes my brain's oh, wait a minute. And so then I'll be oh yeah, I gotta wash my hands. But it's become less and less constant, so it doesn't bother me as much in my life. I have this tale from, let's say, about almost 3 years ago. So this was when I still had pretty bad anxiety. I still have anxiety now, but let's say I'm talking about contamination. And so I used to spend a lot of time in my room, on my bed. It was during the summer, so it's summertime, you don't have a lot to do. So let's say I'm sitting on my bed, and then I would have to, of course, move around. I can't just stay in my room all day, but I was actually afraid to touch my feet to the ground because I was oh, contamination, my feet would touch the ground. I'd be oh man, this could be germs and stuff like that. So what I do is, here we go again with a bottle of soap, but this bottle of soap, I would have something similar to this, and I'd be I would actually use the soap on my feet and clean my feet off, because in my mind it was oh, now that the soap's on my feet, I can actually walk. And so each time I would get up, I would just put soap on my feet to actually walk around. That's a weird story, but that's part of the contamination thing, where it's you can't really touch normal everyday stuff. And since I'm in my room now, I remember one spot that I was always worried about. There's a spot over here that had a red stain on it, and so I was oh my gosh, what if there's blood on it? And then I'd be contamination. And so, basically in my mind I was worried, what if I catch a disease from it or something like that. And then some part of me was like, it's probably just marker. But then the fear side won over, and I was like, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna, like, you know, tape it up so I don't have to worry about it anymore. And so I thought, for a long time, for a couple of years, I actually lived with tape here. You can see from right there should be some tape evidence. But I lived a couple of years just constantly just allowing that to be there. And just now, since I've been trying to, you know, fight against my OCD, or my anxiety and OCD, I just took the tape off, because I'm like, this is stupid. Why do I have a piece of tape on my bed? And it just was ridiculous anymore. I just tore it off, you know. It's absolutely ridiculous to have to worry about that. And also, you know, pillows were a bad thing, you know, for me to worry about. You know, let's say I go outside, my feet are dirty, and then, oh, pillows, and then it's connection again. You know, I feel like you can just lay back in my room and just talk about everything in terms of contamination. Oh, that's contaminated. You know, man, I could just talk about it all day with the amount of stuff that I've experienced. What else have I experienced? Just trying to look around thinking, what else? Yeah, but also, now I look at my binder, it's like, yeah, school is also, you know, kind of hard when you have, like, contamination stuff, because let's say you go to, like, the bathrooms, man, that's a hard spot, you know, especially before. That was hard. But I don't think it bothered me as much, though, as long as I could wash my hands. But I think it became especially hard, like, but then I realized, you know, I started to carry, like, hand sanitizer. Open up my backpack here. You can see, grabbing hand sanitizer. Hand sanitizer. Oh, maybe I put it, oh yeah, I know where I put it. Oh yeah, so hand sanitizer for me for the past couple of years has been like, has been an important tool for me in high school. So whenever I feel like the need to hand sanitize, I've been like, you know, okay, put a little bit on before I touch anything with food or anything that comes to my mouth or anything like that, like water. But I think what happened was, like, since I've actually used hand sanitizer less and less. So that's actually can stay, you know. I had like a whole bunch of bottles of hand sanitizer since I started high school. Maybe like 8 bottles of hand sanitizer I used throughout the past couple of years. But yeah, same with like doorknobs. But now I'm actually better, you know, like I don't, you know, constantly worry about doorknobs or, you know, like stuff people touch a lot, like keyboards or something like that. Like I said, now I feel so much better after, I don't know, just the past couple of years. Like before, I used to be constantly with like contamination, but I've gotten better. You know, I haven't put soap on my feet for a long time. I use less hand sanitizer. I don't wash my hands as much, and then I'm fine with sharing stuff. You know, let's say something falls on the ground, I might like brush it off for a couple of seconds, but other than that, it doesn't really affect me as much. But like I said, with my journey to getting better with mental health and physical health, I decided to challenge my so-called contamination, and I've been like touching doorknobs. I've been touching doorknobs, touching things that I wouldn't have touched before. And also I went to like, you know, buffet a couple weeks ago where I was sharing food with others, you know, same utensils. Of course, I would never have done that before, but, you know, I'm trying to challenge my contamination in a sense. So also another thing I did was I used to have a towel over there where I used to have my own separate towel to wipe my hands off with. I'm pretty sure that was because I was like concerned about, you know, like sharing this towels, but now I don't have that anymore because I'm trying to challenge my, you know, fear of germs and stuff, you know, touching things, using less hand sanitizer, washing my hands less. Not to an unhealthy extent, but I'm challenging it. So my video on contamination, it's been a long journey through contamination, especially from where it first started off, which was so severe in the sense I had to wash my hands constantly, go back and forth, and I could barely touch anything. I would have to constantly think, oh, wait a minute, where did that touch it? But now through this journey, I mean, over the years, I've gotten less and less and less to where now I can function without having to constantly clean everything that I touch or so on like that. So it's possible to improve with if you're afraid of germs, you know. I did it. Now I'm working on, you know, like other things that are challenging. Because every day is really cool because I like to go outside because every day I can improve myself. Every day I go outside I can, you know, challenge myself to strive better. I can, you know, like going to school, I can, you know, just fight against my anxiety, you know. Every day I go out into the world, I can feel like I improve because I'm able to test myself. So, just letting you guys know that since it's Mental Health Awareness Month, like I have up there on my wall, ever-expanding wall, I want to let you guys know that you're not alone in mental health, you know, the stigma. I'm speaking out because I'm done hiding it. It's time to talk about it, my contamination. So in the following weeks I will be talking about other stuff that I've dealt with over the years and I'm still dealing with right now. But I'm fighting it. I'm going to improve and I'm going to beat my anxiety. Thank you for watching, viewers. Oh, one thing I remember actually now just popped in my head was like clothes. I remember let's say I just remember this one time when I was at the library and some guy smelled like I remember one time when I was at the library and there was like the cigarette smell, and so I remember with my shirt I came home and then I was like, wait a minute, what if the guy that smelled like cigarettes, somehow the vapors came off and got on my shirt, and what if it like contaminates or something like that? It's just something I remember from like my shirts and stuff as I sit here and just ponder.